Nigeria's Minister for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, was in Ekiti State, precisely Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti State capital, to distribute some agricultural inputs. I read the report. What are the inputs distributed? Insecticides, some seedlings, I don't know. But it takes that to indicate government's commitment to agriculture and food security in Nigeria. He then went ahead to talk about the underlying challenges hindering our national food security objectives. Fundamental challenges hindering our national food security objectives. What are the challenges? He didn't mention them either. So I'm sure he went with some agricultural inputs to be given to the farmers, which he must have given to the farmers. But I'm saying in the newspapers that I checked, the inputs were not mentioned. But as I said, there will be probably in some insecticides, some seedlings, But then, what about the what he calls underlying challenges? What are they? Not mentioned. I identified 3 areas of underlying challenges to agriculture and food security in Nigeria. 1, the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community. Any government perpetuating the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community cannot claim to be committed to agricultural progress and food security. Otherwise, go to the northeast, and by now terrorism has children in the likes of Lakurawa, operating in the northwest. So that's the first challenge, with particular reference to the north, northeast, northwest, and north central. You hear of terrorist activities in those areas. And the root cause in Nigeria is the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community. Now, in the second instance, you have herdsmen terrorism and grazing of cattle in agrarian fields. That is the second underlying challenge, or you want to call it fundamental challenge. So until you clear or settle the issue of grazing of cattle in agrarian fields and herdsmen terrorists going about sacking agrarian communities, killing, maiming, raping, kidnapping, and all of that nationwide. So that is the second underlying or fundamental challenge confronting agricultural progress and food security in Nigeria. And until government attends to that, it cannot be talking of any commitment to agriculture and food security in Nigeria. In the third instance, and one would think more pervasive now than or as pervasive as herdsmen terrorism, mushrooming and bandits, being fueled by the impoverization with which government is inflicting Nigerians. Mass impoverization arising from the governmental policies and actions. But of course, if you talk of the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community, it's government policy and action. If you talk of sustenance of herdsmen terrorism, it's government policy. Because the herdsmen terrorists have not been criminalized by government. They are terrorists, herdsmen terrorists, but they are not called terrorists by government. Because President Muhammadu Buhari was a patron of the herdsmen terrorists since the 1980s. He then became the president in 2015, and from that year, herdsmen terrorists have become larger than life. They could be contained in localities, but now with AK-47 and apparent government backing, it took a different turn entirely. So, and then in the third instance, mushrooming and bandits, again based on the policy and action of government. Because when you are deliberately impoverishing the masses based on your policy and action, fuel subsidy is gone, all other subsidies are gone, even workers are paid less than living wage. So it's like you have snuffed life out of Nigerians, and criminally minded people find a fertile soil for criminal activities. Everything going back to the government, because rule and misrule have implications. You rule well, you are appreciated, you make the people happy, they see justice, they see accountability. But in a situation where the president doubles himself as the petroleum minister and is not accounting for anything, he cannot even be called to account by the legislative chambers, by the legislators. So a form of dictatorship without checks and balances. Since the president has become an absolute ruler, if only through settling the other arms of government that should check him. So, my dear Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, you didn't define what you mean by underlying challenges. I would have loved you to mention the challenges. What do you see as the underlying challenges to agriculture in Nigeria? I assume, and then of course I have to assume, that you distributed some agricultural inputs, but they are not mentioned. You yourself didn't mention it in your speech. So, this foolery, since 2015 till date, by the so-called All Progressives Congress, and government always has the praise singers government economic reform. Removal of fuel subsidy is the solution. What is, without telling us what they mean by fuel subsidy in an oil exporting country, and where government is getting money to subsidize fuel for Nigerians. And now fuel subsidy is gone. All other subsidies are also gone on electricity, on light, on fuel, petrol, kerosene, or gas, or everything beyond the reach of common people. Survival of the fittest, and so leading to mushrooming armed bandits, mushrooming armed robbers. Where is security for our farmers to operate? Where is security? Agriculture is our native occupation, and overwhelming majority of Nigerians are still attached to farming, but they go and get loan to cultivate and plant, only for herdsmen terrorists to come and devour it, only for terrorists to say you must be paying us tribute to work on the land, or simply go and attack agrarian communities. And you are talking of government's commitment to agriculture and food security. In reality, where is it? In reality, where is it? I think about it. You didn't even mention what you mean by the underlying challenges. Because for me, I have told you, war against Boko Haram and the mushrooming terrorist organization now, herdsmen terrorism pervasive throughout Nigeria, then mushrooming armed bandits, armed robbers, insecurity, based on government policy that is fueling mass impoverization, and being incentive to criminality by criminally minded people. But common people, let us be thinking. Let us not be carried away by this sugar-coated mouths of the politicians. Oh my God.